I think some of the words are pretty cliched, but personalization done right can really win in the new era. Right? As a thumb rule, while the mega influencers do contribute significantly to increasing a brand's awareness, it's the
Mhm.
small and micro influencers that really help in driving a transaction or a conversion. So I feel that personalization is here to kind of stay. And the more brands leverage data and technology, I think they will be able to deliver much smarter personalization in the near future.
Welcome to the Growth Genius, brought to you by Infidigit. I'm Kaushal Thakkar, founder of Infidigit and your host for this show. Fashion is one of the integral part of everyone's life, and lifestyle and its retail and online stores is the go-to destination for apparels and accessories. Today we have an esteemed guest, Srinivas Rao, who is the Senior Vice President and Head of E-commerce at Lifestyle. Hi Srinivas, how are you doing today?
Hey, hi, Kaushal. Yeah, I'm doing extremely well. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Srinivas, some of our audience may not know you that well. Please help us with a short introduction of yourself.
I have been a marketing professional across several industries, starting from the consumer durables to alcobev to retail. My longest stint being in retail. But at the heart of it, I'm someone who's a keen observer of customer journeys and how they are changing with time. I think, I feel I am someone who's still learning because every single day throws up new avenues for learning, and there's so much change happening all around us. As an individual, I feel I'm a very down to earth, humble person. I take keen interest in keeping fit. I run a lot. I participate in marathons. I love tracking the stock market. I learn a lot every single day, and I mean that's a little about myself.
Srinivas, other thing which is there, which is highlighting factor, is about the last 16 years where you have been at Lifestyle. Today, we rarely see people being there in an organization, even taking gratuity from an organization, right? In such a situation, it would be wonderful to understand from a person like you who has been there with Lifestyle for 16 years that, hey, what is that magic potion which creates such long synergies between an organization and an individual?
So great question, and many people do ask me this question, and many people, when I actually tell them that I've been with an organization for 16 years, they actually look at it with disbelief. But look at it like this, right? If there are enough opportunities for you to learn, if you're actually in a position to contribute to the growth of an organization and grow along with the organization, both individually and as a professional, if there's enough value addition that you're able to do your job on a day-to-day basis, if you're learning something new, if you have so many challenges every single day, and if the organization itself that you're working for allows for entrepreneurship, it actually empowers you. It gives you so much of freedom to do what you really like to do. I think there's no reason for an individual to keep looking at multiple avenues. I think it might be fashionable to keep jumping from one organization to the other, but so long as your objectives are met, so long as you're completely invested in what you do and the organization and investing back in you, I think it's good to kind of, I mean, I don't see a harm in really continuing, right? So when I
Nice.
joined Lifestyle, we were barely 9 stores in the country, and today, when I look back at my journey with so much pride, because Lifestyle has grown from about 9 stores to 90 plus stores. Plus, we were obviously not present online 15, 16 years back. Today, we have a robust online presence, which I'm lucky to kind of be leading. So it's been a fascinating journey, and I'm really extremely proud that I've been able to contribute to a significant retail brand in the country today, a brand that's widely respected, and I think it really feels immensely, satisfying to have been able to contribute in a brand's journey.
Wonderful. Thanks, Alish, for sharing that. And 9 to 90 scores, so that's something which is commendable. And lifestyle is doing really well. I shop lots of apparels from lifestyle. So thank you for creating such kind of stores across India. That really helps. Srinivas, the other unique thing which you mentioned was about the e-commerce launch. Please help us understand that journey of the e-commerce launch. How did it happen, and if there are any challenges which you were able to overcome during this particular stage?
Yeah, so the e-commerce journey for lifestyle was very interesting. We were skeptical in the sense that wanted to always, start a digital journey if it was a question of when. I think the initial years, it was possibly around the mid 2015 is when we really had a serious approach to wanting to launch our e-commerce business. Till then, we were skeptical. We were actually looking at the various organizations that had actually launched the e-commerce businesses, and we were actually reading very different things. Both in terms of the customers being slow to adopt the digital channels at that particular point in time, not really very strong penetration of internet at that particular point in time, and we were not very clear. But it's good that around the mid 2015 is when we really took a resolve to launch our e-commerce business, and I think by late 2016, early 2017, we were fully ready. And we launched our e-commerce business, and it's been a great journey so far. Obviously, every single day has been filled with a lot of learning, and we continue to evolve. Great launch, steady. Like I said, as we progress, we evolve our proposition, and hopefully, it will grow from strength to strength.
Really nice. Thanks, Srinivas, for sharing it. So while you wear multiple caps and handle multiple roles and responsibilities, one thing which you would like to learn more is how do you define your role as the head of e-commerce at Lifestyle?
Okay, I think the definition of the role could be simple, but what goes behind it could be a little more complex. Essentially, you're managing the digital business for lifestyle, but it doesn't really stop there because our digital business is extremely integrated with our offline business. Like you would know, lifestyle is a very strong retail business with 90 plus stores across 50 plus cities. For lifestyle to launch digital business, it's really not seen as a standalone digital channel, but really a true omni-channel offering to the customer, in a sense that it's largely aimed at people who are familiar with lifestyle, who want to experience lifestyle digitally. Therefore, while the definition looks pretty simple, it's an extremely integrated role in the sense that you really are offering the customer an integrated experience, a true omni-channel experience, which essentially means that the role works with multiple stakeholders across the organization, right? Right from
Nice.
technology to retail, to marketing to supply chain and so on and so forth.
Srinivas, there has been a convergence of offline and online retail over this last many years. How do you see this change impacting the retail world?
Yeah. So the offering to the customer, was multi-channel in the sense that retailers started offering a digital experience to their customers. What started as a multi-channel experience evolved into an omni-channel experience, which is now evolving into a hybrid experience. It largely traces how customer journeys are evolving. Customers typically either shopped online or shopped offline, which then evolved to customers starting their journey online and completing the journey offline, or vice versa, right? So typically, a customer would essentially place an order. They would go and pick up what they've ordered for at a store, or they like something, they shortlist it
Mhm.
in the store and have it delivered home. Right? These were
Yeah.
omni-channel experiences that brands were offering.
Hmm.
But today, it's actually evolving rapidly into a hybrid experience, in the
Okay.
sense that today the customer is on her mobile, right?
Mhm.
She's looking at something, she's clicking, and she's wanting to pick it up then and there, right? And essentially, what is happening is the best of both the worlds, right? If you look at the online world, what are the significant benefits of the online world? There are a couple, or maybe three. One is the unlimited range that the online offers because you're really not starved for physical space. Two is the ease with which you're able to narrow down your selection. Three is the convenience with which you can close a transaction, right? So you really don't have to wait in line. These are the three significant benefits of an online channel. What are the significant benefits of the offline channel? There are two which are extremely significant. One is you're able to touch and feel the product. Two is you're able to try the product, right? So
True.
these are two significant benefits. Now, all of these are coming together, right? So physical
True.
retailers are offering technology that enables faster selection of products. They're actually enabling smoother navigation through technology. They're offering you virtual trials.
Yes.
So essentially, there's a lot more happening in the customer's mobile. She's able to actually check out using an app while in the physical store, vice versa, right? As in, while she's at home, she's able to kind of shortlist something, quickly go to the store, pick it up without having to wait for her turn to bill in the store, right? So, what is rapidly evolving is a hybrid shopping experience, and most of the retailers are investing significantly to enable themselves to offer a hybrid experience to their customers.
Nice. Srinivas, how do you see the marketing mix changing due to the advent of online ads?
The marketing mix, like you're mentioning earlier, a significant amount of spends had moved online, essentially because more and more consumers were consuming their quota of entertainment as well as news online, and advertising dollars essentially chase eyeballs,
Mhm.
and wherever eyeballs are bought effectively, that is where advertising dollars essentially would flow. We do not see a drastic reduction in terms of digital consumption, either of entertainment or of news post COVID. While some spends may have come off
Mhm.
post COVID and return to the traditional mediums. I'm not saying the traditional mediums are not relevant anymore, but there's a
Mhm.
significant amount of consumption of entertainment and news online, and therefore most brands have a significant proportion of their marketing spends aligned to online mediums, and that will continue. It will continue to grow.
One other thing which happens, Srinivas, on the online world these days is the influencers. With the advent of TikTok, Instagram, etc., these influencers and micro influencers are there across every industry, be it retail, healthcare, finance, etc. How are these influencers impacting the brands?
In fact, they're helping the brand significantly, right? So, especially consumer-facing brands, and I can talk about fashion, right? So, influencers play a significant role, and if you look at, there are different types of influencers. There are mega influencers, right up to micro influencers, right?
Mhm.
Now, how does one really deploy an influencer strategy? Mega influencers, and if you look at the customer funnels, right, there is the top of the funnel largely aimed at improving awareness for your brand or for your offering, right? So typically what we see is the large scale influencers work so much at the top of the funnel.
Mhm.
The micro influencers really work at the bottom of the funnel where it really matters the most, right? So if you really need conversions, that's where the micro influencers really come into play, right? So essentially, the micro influencers who are not necessarily small, their ability to contribute to a brand's growth can be really leveraged well if you are serious about conversions for your brand, right? And how do you go about doing it, etc. I mean, each brand can have its own influencer strategy, but as a thumb rule, while the mega influencers do contribute significantly to increasing a brand's awareness, it's the small and micro influencers that really help in driving a transaction or a conversion really towards the
Nice.
bottom of the funnel.
That's
Yeah.
good. Really interesting. One other thing which is happening is earlier we used to look at 30-second ads at least, right? With this Instagram and TikToks coming in, we are seeing that even the video consumption which the consumers are doing, it's reducing to 10 to 15 seconds. With this ever decreasing attention span of the consumer, how can one convey the brand story to him or her?
That's an interesting question. I look at it a little differently, right? It's essentially horses for courses, right? I mean, it's just as simple as saying that, I have a brilliant idea which is translated into print creative. Now, I have another medium called a billboard or an outdoor media asset, and I paste the print ad on it because I've not really thought about it as a different medium, right? So same applies to any digital, medium, right? Essentially, the brand message does not change, the brand strategy does not change, but how do you adapt the message to suit the medium, right? That is where the art lies, right? Any
Nice.
story can be conveyed on any medium, provided that we learn the nuances of the medium and you tailor your message to suit the medium and essentially use the advantages that each medium offers, right? And therefore, it's really important to understand the medium. But what does not change is the way you think about the brand,
Mhm.
your brand messaging, and what is at the core to your brand. That doesn't change, but your messaging can be easily tailored to suit any medium.
Nice. That really
Yeah.
helps. Thank you. These changes which are happening on the brand side, brand managers needing to get accustomed to the way the consumers are looking at the videos, etc., or consuming content overall. Do you think that the role of brand manager is also changing in this new age of marketing?
I wouldn't say the role of the brand manager is changing. As I say, more the things change, more they remain same. Right.
Mhm.
The way I look at it is that the fundamentals of marketing don't change. Right. They've been the same for 100 years or a little more than that. Right. I think what is the core of marketing is to kind of really understand the customer journey, understand the customer's pain points, their needs, their wants, their desires. So that doesn't change, and significant amount of a brand manager's time needs to kind of be spent there, right? However, what changes is tailoring the story that you want to kind of tell your audiences about your brand, right? That changes with the medium, the way you kind of narrate a story changes with the medium.
Mhm.
However, what you do with the brand and how you really look at your customers, understand the customers, understand their landscape of what they want, etc. That doesn't change, and I don't think that will change ever, right? The way you go to market, the way you tailor your messaging, those obviously will change,
Yeah, so those minor
based
things will
on.
change within the role, but overall role almost remains the same. Instead of putting the money towards the traditional medium.
Absolutely. For example, when you have actually narrowed down on your central idea for your brand, right?
Mhm.
The way you go about executing has definitely changed, right?
True.
Today, most new age brands actually start with briefing their digital agency alongside the mainline agency, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to in the past where there's one central idea, then there was a big film created, right? A campaign created. Then it is really cut to suit a digital medium.
True.
You have your
Yeah.
one master film and then you make adapts, and you struggle to make adapts because certain channels or certain platforms need vertical videos and certain
Yeah.
platforms need, right. So that's very post facto thinking. Today, most new age brand marketing teams think digital first, because that's where significant amount of consumers are there, significant of monies are being spent, and therefore the way execution of brand ideas are happening, that is changing, right? Is similar to in the past. We used to have one national creative Hindi, and it used to get dubbed into regional languages, right? So similarly, you have today one master film, which is poorly getting edited or snipped into multiple creative units to suit digital platforms, which really don't work as well as brands' creative assets that are really thought with digital first, being part of their overall plan.
Nice. In terms of the future, while we spoke about the present with this per thing, what do you think would happen in the coming years? What would be the future growth drivers for retail?
Future growth drivers for retail, in my view, will completely be led by, how brands leverage data and
Hmm.
how brands leverage technology, right?
Okay.
I think some of the words are pretty cliched, but personalization done right can really win in the new era, right? When I say personalization done right, it just is not about knowing your name and where you live. It's about deeply having a very, very intimate relationship with the customers and really being able to support in their decision making with data, with various avenues that are available today, brands can leverage. I think if in the next few years, some of the changes, if you would kind of really ask me, will be led by brands that actually leverage technology very well, that
Hmm.
leverage data very well, and serve hyper personalization to customers, right? So that I
True.
think is the mantra for brands to succeed in the next few years.
And personalization, when we speak of this offline, it's very much easy to implement. Online, it becomes a little bit challenging. While we see some of the platforms already doing it to an extent, how do you think this personalization is going to happen online more efficiently? Is there some secret sauce to that as well?
On the contrary, it's a lot more easy to personalize your experience when you come onto an online platform because
Hmm.
the entire app, the entire storefront can be personalized for you, right?
Hmm.
Because I know a lot more about your browsing habits when you're on
Hmm.
my platform than I know really about what you do in the store, right?
True.
So in the store, in fact, till you actually make a transaction, I really don't know which are the aisles you visited, which are the garments you
Hmm.
really tried, or which are the fragrances you tried, and which watches you really liked. I really don't know much. However, when you are in the online store, right, I really know exactly what is your level of interest across every single category. What have you really shopped in the past? What are you likely to shop now? Right? In fact, most brands are now personalizing to the extent where if you're really buying a wrong size of a shoe, they're actually sending you a prompt saying, "Hey, last time you bought a UK 7, are you sure you want to buy UK 8?" Or they also tell you that, listen, you're buying a certain brand's UK 6, but actually you might want to try UK 7, right? So personalization has actually it's already being leveraged very well by most brands, but there is so much more work to do for every brand to make a customer shopping journey
Hmm.
even more meaningful and more
True.
rewarding for the customer. Right. So I feel that personalization, is here to kind of stay. And the more brands leverage data and technology, I think they will be able to deliver much smarter personalization in the near future.
Happy to see that all those small details of a user transaction, or at least the journey which the user went on the store, is being tracked, and at least that data is being used. So thanks for sharing that as well. Srinivas, that brings us to the last question for this particular show. Let's say, imagine you have been watched right now by millions of people today live. What is the most important learning of your life that you would like to share with this new age marketers of today?
Okay, it might sound a little cliched, but there are two. One is customer at the heart of whatever you do and keep things simple. Like I said, it does sound cliched, but very often and ever so often, especially we are really guilty of running so many things that we really forget what the customer really wants. And all of us have been guilty of this, right? Very often, especially for retailers, the simple act of standing on the retail floor and actually having a conversation or two with a few customers actually gives you so much of insight, which is really a gold mine, and there's no substitute to really having these conversations, and it
Mhm.
really helps in shaping your brand's strategy, right?
Yeah,
While it sounds so simple, and I know it sounds cliche, but ever so often we don't do it, right?
true.
And the other thing is trying to keep things simple, right? We actually complicate our lives and our customers' life by trying to do too many things, and really it doesn't matter, right? I think trying to keep things simple and having the customer at the heart of whatever you plan to do, I think these two things are extremely important. Sometimes it might sound cliched, but in my view and my learning, I think these are extremely, extremely important.
That's very crucial, and the customer has to be treated like that king. And sometimes in the online world, people forget about it. But yes, at least meeting them sometimes is going to definitely help the marketers. So thanks at least for sharing that particular message as well. Thank you, Srinivas. It was really a pleasure having you on this particular show. We learned quite a few great things: value addition, keeping customer at the heart of the overall activities. Keeping the things simple. So there were wonderful takeaways for us in this particular show. So thanks a lot for being on this particular show with us.
Thank you, Kaushal, for having me on the show. I enjoyed this conversation, and thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Growth Genius. I hope you learned more about growth and marketing from Srinivas Rao. And if you're a corporate leader, I hope you bring in a culture of entrepreneurship and freedom that helps your team members stay well connected for many years with your organization. Please share your key takeaways in the comment section on the YouTube chat window. Thank you. Now go out there and create growth for yourself and your organization. Thank you. See you next week.